solutions to some of the footballing problems that we had. But fast forward, the Almighty God took us into 2025. Um, I'm sure on the 31st of December 2024, one of my foremost prayers was that 2024 go away and don't come another day. And the Almighty God listened to my prayers and to our prayers, and so 2025 was a very, very interesting year. A year in which the Black Stars clawed back their confidence. A year in which Black Stars played unbeaten competitively in competitive games. A year in which our Black Wings took us back to where we belong, to the apex of the African game. A year in which, again, they did not only win bronze, but again qualified for the next WAFCON. A year in which the Twinkle Twinkle Black Starlets came back to the African stage. A year in which we gave domestic football a lot of energy. Our Premier League receiving the best of support. Our WPL, our dual, receiving the best of support. A year in which we offered good support to our regional offices across the country. A year in which we offered unprecedented support to juvenile football. And most importantly, a year in which we gave opportunities to coaches at the coast level, female coaches, by way of offering free tuition, free coach education. So 2025 was, for me, was a very successful year for the Ghanaian game. I look back extremely happy, hoping that 2025 will come again.
Do you get the feeling that your lowest point could be when the Stars failed to qualify for the AFCON that many felt was the best AFCON in many years?
Well, I wish I will not speak about that experience anymore, because I'm the same person who have said on numerous occasions that qualification to the AFCON is a given, and therefore, if you fail to qualify for the AFCON, then it should be the lowest one could find yourself. What is good is that we're very honest to ourselves. We, as a committee, we were very honest to the happenings around us, and we took decisive decisions that led to the resurrection of our Black Stars. And I think that is leadership. When things go wrong or when things go right, in all situations, you need to be honest and to take good decisions. And I think that on that score, we were absolutely spot on.
Now you are second vice president of the Confederation of African Football. Still sticking to the topic of the AFCON. Some have said that the just ended AFCON in Morocco is one of the best organized in recent times. But in the twilight stages of the competition, we saw some happenings that cast some doubts about African football. You are in leadership at CAF. What do you have to say about the just ended AFCON?
Well, so I will start by saying that we were in Cameroon. We learned good lessons from the organization and complete management of the AFCON in Cameroon. That resulted in an unprecedented improvement in Côte d'Ivoire. Côte d'Ivoire was by far one of the very best, especially in terms of passion, in terms of the energy of the people, in terms of the quality of football, and most importantly, in terms of commerce. Okay, Côte d'Ivoire was a huge success. And once Côte d'Ivoire was a success, everybody was looking up to what would happen in Morocco. And I remember my president, the president of CAF, promising the whole world that the AFCON in Morocco would be the very best. And I think that on the basis of what happened, there's no doubt in my mind And there's no doubt by way of the data that has come out that Morocco has been by far the very best. I know people will speak about the incident that happened in the last game, but that tells you how important that grand finale was to both teams. That tells you that Senegal wanted to win. That tells you that Morocco wanted to win. And for me, that's the way I see it. It's about competition. Yes, some of the actions went beyond the line, and I think that CAF reacted appropriately. The educating bodies took decisive decisions. I've always said that people may differ in respect to what their opinions are by way of what should have been the right or wrong punishment to people who cross our lines. But and that will always be subjective. So I'm very happy that the disciplinary committee was very decisive. I'm very happy that the two teams were very, very competitive. And I'm very happy that we saw a very, very well organized competition. And I'm very happy that we saw two top notch teams showing their quality by way of association football. I always do my heart out to Senegal and to Morocco for the quality they showed to the world. African football has arrived, and we showed it. Quality of infrastructure was top. Um, Sometimes when I sat through some of the games, weather being what it was, and yet the game, the football was on the turf, and it could run and it could be kicked. Um, like anywhere in the world, made me so happy. And I'm glad and blessed to be part of the leadership of football on the African continent and taking the sport through the stage. I think that for us, our responsibility is to support our president, Dr. Mosepe, to realize his vision, and by far, I think that we're on track.
Still sticking to the topic of the AFCON. The CAF president announced during the course of the last AFCON that the AFCON is going to go 4 years from the next two editions. It's come along with a lot of criticism. Some say we're kowtowing to Africa is kowtowing to Europe. Some have said that CAF is losing their focus. What went into the decision to move from the biannual African Football Festival to a 4-year tournament?
So, in answering this, I would say that it's very important for people to separate passion from reasoning. It's very, very important. There's always a fight between passion and reasoning when it comes to association football. And if one is not careful, you would always fall in the trap. The truth of the matter is that we are in a very competitive world. The truth of the matter is that our players play on different platforms in different leagues, not only in our home countries, but across our borders. What is also true is that products are built, and once products are built, it's very important for you to allow your targeted consumers the time and opportunity to also consume what you offer them. What am I saying? There's always and there's been ongoing discussions about AFCON, timing of AFCON, availability or non-availability of our top players, refusal of direct employers of our players to release these boys during the AFCON tournament, etc., etc. And most importantly, how do we position our premium product to be commercially viable? Okay, so having considered all these questions and answers and reasons, etc., etc., believe me, it was so easy for us to take such a decision. To make sure that we are competitive, to make sure that all our players are available, to make sure that we don't go into yearly fights with clubs who put food on the table or for these boys, to make sure that we don't go into fights with confederations every year. It's about mutual respect. It's not about giving power to Europe. It's about keeping our power and our respect. Because I want an AFCON that would be that every player will be looking up to. I don't want a situation where you are in a qualification period and your players will be avoiding to respond to national call because they will eventually qualify and play in the AFCON and lose club football for 6 to 8 weeks. Sometimes it can be crazy, but that's the reality of life. And these are things that people don't normally talk about. But when you come into situations where clubs will continuously negotiate for release of players with you, I mean, it's very troubling. And most importantly, we need to develop our AFCON to be commercially viable so we can take care of the other developmental competitions that we have. CAF is investing a lot in youth competitions, and we need to find the resources to fund these competitions. We need to find resources to fund capacity building on the African continent. We need to find resources to empower our coaches, our referees, and therefore we think that introducing a new 4-year cycle for the AFCON.
You're convinced it's going to be
and most importantly, introducing the African Nations League, which will be full of regional derbies. So, for example, in the WAFO zone, we're going to have 16 countries. I don't know the number of derbies you're going to have,
Ghana,
but
Nigeria.
you're going to have Ghana, Nigeria, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso against Senegal, Burkina Faso against Cote d'Ivoire. Incredible games coming up. And for me, to have this competition every year, more money to the federations, more visibility to our players, in a window which is solely dedicated for international football, every league, every competition will stop and watch. For me, I mean, this is what I mean by passion, the fight between passion and reason.
Yeah. Right. So, the previous administration of the
So let me just say that, I mean, I also do understand, and I do share the sentiment of many people who are so much used to a 2-year AFCON. I mean, because that has been our life, you know, and change is a difficult one. And people, as human as we are, we struggle to accept change because I was born to see AFCON every 2 years, and I've lived 55 years. So if within this period you are being asked to see AFCON every 4 years, then you're like, oh, so how many more AFCONs will I see? You know, if you are 20 years and you see AFCON every 2 years, and now you're being asked to see AFCON every 4 years, it's quite a challenge. If you're a media guy and you know, I always use media as an example, and your plan is to go to the AFCON every 2 years, but look, you're going to have more AFCONs. I mean, Nations League every year.
I was about to come to the Nations League
every year, and it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very attractive. It's not going to be too difficult to host. The money will be good, believe me, and the attendance will be good.
Mr. President, in the wisdom of the previous administration of the Confederation of African Football, they brought the Championship of African Nations onto the African football calendar for players who ply their trades domestically. With the introduction of the Nations League, automatically the Championship for African Nations is scrapped. What happens to the potential of these domestic league players who, by that competition, we're also getting the leverage and also getting the exposure? What happens?
Okay. When was the last time we had the AFCON?
Just last year.
I didn't hear the answer.
Just last year.
Okay. How many nations competed in the AFCON? How many?
24.
24. 24.
Yeah.
How many nations do we have in Africa? 54.
Yeah.
54.
54.
54. So every 2 years, 30 of our sister countries do not compete in the AFCON. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's correct. Is that not true?
It's true.
Okay. So as a confederation of African football, our core responsibility is to develop football in all 54 member associations. That's our core responsibility. And we have a product that solely takes care of, per your own answer, 24 countries for the AFCON. And we are saying that we will keep this competition for you, but we're going to take care of 54 African countries every year with the African Nations League. Which one would you prefer? You are CAF.
You take the African nations.
You are the president of CAF. You are CAF. Your responsibility is to take care of every 54 federations. And that's what the Nations League is going to take care of. 54 nations, everybody will play. Minimum 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games in a year for every country on the African continent. Come on. I did say that there's always a fight between passion and reasoning, but we've kept the AFCON, and now we are providing for all our member associations. Somalia, Djibouti, Eritrea, they all have to compete. They all have Seychelles. We are not only going to talk about beach soccer now. We're talking about football. All of them deserve the chance to compete with Ghana, with Cameroon, with Nigeria, with Senegal, with Cote d'Ivoire, with Morocco. They also deserve this chance. And the African Nations League, to be played year in, year out, will provide that opportunity. And don't forget, a chunk of them use players who solely play in their domestic competitions.
Now, let's move on from CAF and come back.
So even with Chan,
yeah,
how many teams were in the last Chan?
16.
They're still limited, isn't it?
Sure.
But with the African Nations League, every player that plays in the domestic league, whose national team is solely represented by players in the domestic league, will be part of the Nations League.
Wow. Let's talk about the Ghana Premier League.
The Super Ghana Premier League.
The Super Ghana Premier League.
Yes.
According to
super fantastic Ghana Premier League.
According to the GFA president.
According to Ghanaians.
This season.
According to the viewing public. According to the world. On your tablet, you see a super fantastic Ghana Premier League. You watch the league and you hear super fantastic radio commentary or TV commentary. This is Ghana.
Your general impressions after 22 weeks of Ghana Premier League, unprecedented financial injection. Ghana Super Premier League.
What are you talking about?
Sorry.
Come on. Okay, so that's just on the lighter note. I did say that this year's Premier League will be the best. And I think we are on track to achieve that target. We started by motivating club owners. We started by igniting the passion in club owners, in leadership of all our clubs, in the players. With that fantastic partnership we established with Adisa Productions. And in saying this, let me say thank you to the President of the country, to the Sector Minister, Honorable Kofi Adams, to Mama Yariga, Honorable Majority Leader, to Honorable Julius Debra, for all the support they have offered my leadership and the ESCO behind the scenes in creating the enabling environment for corporate Ghana to be interested in the Ghana Premier League.
89.7.
The result is that we are consuming good football, good scenery, some very, very exciting games. Now, it's not only about Ghanaians being excited about our Premier League, but people beyond the shores of Ghana have access to the league, and they are consuming the league, which is very, very important for me and for us. Watching the Super Clash a few days ago really, really took me back into time. The energy, the passion, the excitement, the jubilation, the throwing of tantrums, some crazy football on the pitch sometimes. I mean, the greeny turf of the Bavaria Sports Stadium, the energetic Hasselhoff fans singing and chanting, and they being replied by the ever-present Kotoko fans. I mean, this is a scenery that we've not witnessed in a while, and for me, it's a testament of all the hard work that has gone in a testament of all the good work that is being done behind the scenes. And if you watch the GPL on TV like we watched a few days ago with amazing commentary um, by your good self and the rest of the team, I mean, one can only be excited about our tomorrow because the investments we are making today is definitely beginning to show.
The question now is it going to be a one-season wonder or not? And how do you intend to sustain the momentum now?
Well, I think that one has to be positive. Um, we started a journey to invest in domestic competitions, and that has also affected our Women's Premier League, our Division One league, and then our GPL. The target is not to stop the investment. The target is to even do more, and the target is to ensure that the Ghana Premier League becomes the very best league on the African continent, and that's the target, and we'll continue to work at that.
Sometimes I speak to colleagues and investors of this game, and they're like, "Oh, Okraku, his highest point has been where he has taken women's football, and it's obvious by the achievements that women's football has garnered over the period." But how would you rate women's football from when you took over and now?
So before I answer to that question, I've taken the Division One league to the level that it has never been before, and I'll take pride in that. Okay, Division One league is currently on free to air TV, Zone One, Zone Two, Zone Three. This is historic. Division One league clubs are receiving unprecedented support. Direct cash investment of 120,000 Ghana cedis each, 30 Puma boots, footballs, fuel. We paying referee fees for all the clubs. We're paying match commissions fees for all the clubs. This is unprecedented. This is history right in front of us. Women's Premier League has never seen the level of support ever in the history of the Ghanaian game, and I'll take pride in this. So will the ESCO take pride in it. So it's not only about women's football. Look at what we're doing with coast football. KGL has invested $1 million USD over a 5-year tenure, and another term has been signed. We're supporting coast clubs across the country. This is crazy. Okay, we're offering free coach education for coast coaches in this country. This is crazy again, and I'm using the word crazy in a very good way. Okay, we're offering free coach education to female coaches in this country. This is we touching football at the very heart of the game. So yes, we may have done well. People are excited about what's happening to women's football, but domestic football in general. Look, this year we are giving in excess of 9 million Ghana cedis in prize money to by way of merit awards to the GPL clubs. I'm 55 years. I've never seen this happen to Ghana football, and these are the hard truths that have to be said or spoken. So there are a lot of good things happening to the Ghanaian game.
Right.
The kind of investments we're making in coach education. We've established 3 academies, Upper East, in the Ashanti region, and in the Greater Accra with Achimota Secondary School. We've invested a little over $740,000 in the construction of first-class Category A FIFA standard pitch in the Upper East. These are momentous periods in the Ghanaian game, and one has to be happy about, I would say, modest but good achievements we've shot so far.
Now you mentioned coast football. You recently announced an allocation of $100,000 into coast football. The question now is, how do we monitor the impact of this investment in coast football? Is it about equipment, direct financial injection? How are you monitoring that investment into coast football?
So we're investing more than $100,000 for the past 2 years by way of direct cash for purchase of footballs. It's $100,000 each year. Okay, so for 2 consecutive years, $100,000 and $100,000, $200,000 for coast football. Beyond that, KGL have invested over a 5-year period $1 million US in the organization of the National U17 Coast Championship. This is direct cash investment. Beyond that, we are giving each regional champion set of jerseys, 10 footballs, and 10,000 Ghana cedis in prize money. Okay, we've offered free coach education for coaches across the country. I mean, again, I don't want to repeat what I've said, but this has been some huge investments into coast football.
And kudos for that. Now let's move into infrastructure regarding the juveniles. Most football clubs for juvenile football is currently being played on sakura pitches, like we say in local parlance. And many of the football pitches these days in our communities are astroturfs, not owned by the federation, but by private investors or government. Do you intend to partner with government or the municipalities to guarantee free or subsidized amounts for coast football clubs to have access to proper playing surfaces?
I think that generally there's a shortfall in infrastructure when it comes to association football in our country. And to be direct with your question, coast clubs are at the receiving end of this shortfall. It is a big problem. I am very sure that not too long from now, the FA will be announcing a policy direction in that perspective, and we would be working towards fixing some of these fundamental issues. I'm very positive that we would be able to support our coast teams to have more access to playing or to good playing surfaces.
Thank you for that. Now, there's a transition gap that we want to quickly address. Recently, Ghana won the Under-20 All-African Games. The question now is, how do we ensure that there's a smooth progression from our junior national teams into the main national teams through the transition policy?
I think that it is important for us to pay attention to what we're doing, and I'll just use one player as an example, as an exciting example. Fatal Ishaku, okay,
Yes, sir.
today plays for the Black Stars. But Ishaku played for the U17, played for the U20, and played for the U23. Is that correct?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So there's clearly a plan. What we need to do is to be more competitive at every stage, and once we are more competitive, the players will naturally grow, and they'll follow the pathway that we have provided for all of them. I think that so far it's been very good, and it's even more positive at the female end of the device. I mean, from the U15 to U17, U20, and the Black Wings, and it's happening, and we are very happy about this.
When a World Cup here and the Black Stars is a big deal, what are your general expectations from the national team this year?
First of all, I would always ask for prayers for the team from Ghanaians.
89.7.
I will always plead with Ghanaians to be very, very supportive of our Black Stars. But coming back to your question, I am very positive, given the fact that we will be very prepared for the commencement of the challenge on the 17th of June. I'm very, very positive that the Black Stars will give us a good show. We've kept a very lean technical team, especially during the qualification periods of our international engagements. And as has been the convention, once we make it to the main tournament, we always augment our technical team. And this is not the very first time. It happened before me. During the tenure of President Nyantechi, it's always been the case. So when we qualified, we knew that there were certain areas that we needed to augment. So, for example, we will be taking 26 players to the World Cup, and you have 3, sometimes 2 physiotherapists for the team. Okay, we have 1 medical room, so just do your basic calculation. If a player spends between 40 minutes to 1 hour in the medical room with 2 physios, you can just imagine it's going to take maybe 3-4 days to treat 26 players when these players need treatment every day. You know what I mean? So once we do qualify for the World Cup, it's also always important for us to look at the key need areas where we are low in numbers and in quality and strengthen, and that's it. I mean, sometimes I ask myself that it is never a news item when the Black Stars do have 1 assistant coach. It's not a problem here in Ghana. But when you increase the number of assistant coaches from 1 to 2 or to 3, then it's big news. Why should that be the case?
You're reported to have said some time ago that obviously every country wants to go to the World Cup or to every tournament with their best players. And there's this debate about Ghanaians born abroad willing and able to play for the Black Stars. You have said that if the GFA approached you in the past and you didn't feel Ghanaian, it should stay same. But we're in a world where everybody changes their mind. You still stand by the same comment.
The position I hold or I held yesterday is not from the position I hold today. I want players who will show commitment, who will show the right level of passion, and who will show their love for Mother Ghana to represent Ghana. It's very simple. Having said that, just like somebody told me on social media, I'm not a coach. And I accept that comment in good faith, that I'm not a coach. So I'll wait for the coach to speak. At the end, he's going to work with the boys. And if he so decides to choose Mr. A and Mr. B, so be it. I mean, we'll give them all the support that we need. What I'm interested in is that Ghana will be represented by our best players.
The Federation must be commended for lining up exciting friendlies ahead of the World Cup. What went into the decision to choose Austria, Germany, and now Mexico?
So Mexico primarily is to offer the coach or the thinker team the chance to see a chunk of our U23 players, national team players, who will soon be competing, a chance to see some local players, and a chance to see players that he's been monitoring but have not had a chance to work with closely. That will be for the Mexican encounter. Then we have a game against Austria, and then against Germany. These are 2 very, very important games for us in our preparatory period. What I can say for a fact is that there will be at least 1 more game to be announced. We just want to make sure that we are well prepared, and the coach is given enough chance to test his players, to test his strategies, and to be ready for the Mundial. I think there can never be better games than what we have so far been able to arrange.
The last Congress of the GFA came up with major decisions that has got the future of Ghana football at heart. One that generated a lot of controversy was the extension of the 4-year tenure of a sitting president from 2 terms to 3 terms to conform with the global and continental practice. Some have even argued that the membership of your executive council have a 3-term mandate, and the GFA president has a 2-year mandate. So it was in the right direction that our constitution was amended. We as a media house have done our checks and have gone into the grounds to ascertain the readiness of the football people for a 3rd term for your presidency. and the clarion call is that you need to go for another 10. What's your reaction?
Um, I wish that I don't have to think about this at all, um, because at the minute my brain is choked with preparations for the World Cup. But what I've always said is that football will always be football, and football will speak when we give football a chance to speak. At this minute, we are very focused on preparing Ghana for the Mundial. We are very focused in preparing the Black Queens for the WAFCON. We are very focused in making sure that, again, we run for the sixth consecutive time an uninterrupted domestic football season. And we are very much concerned and focused on making sure that the Black Starlets go to Africa and qualify for the Mundial. These are my key focus points as we speak. Not thinking about elections, not thinking about re-elections, not thinking about to go or not to go. At the end of my tenure, I'll speak to myself, I'll speak to my family, and that family includes